Genius Nation, welcome to a brand new day, a day that you've never seen before, a day that you will never see again. This is the Daily Genius, and I am Dr. Will. And as always, I'm super excited that you are here joining us, wherever you're joining us from in the world. I hope today has started off magnificent. Listen, I'm super excited as always that you're joining us. We're on this journey of 365 videos that I'm sharing with you inside our group. This is video episode number 119. Can you guys believe it? 119 days straight, we've been showing up so we can create a better version of ourselves and create a life that we love. If you happen to be watching this outside of our private Facebook group, you're watching this on YouTube, we would love for you to be a part of the over 1,000 individuals that are committed to becoming a better version of themselves and creating a life that they love. There is a link in the description for you to join Genius Nation. We would love for you to be a part of the nation where we provide you with tips, tools, strategies to assist you in becoming a better version of yourself and creating a life that you love. If you've been following us, then you know Thursday is all about thinking big. I share stories with you about individuals that thought big, that are doing it big, that are accomplishing big things. And today I want to talk to you about a gentleman by the name of Junior Bridgeman. Junior Bridgeman. Junior Bridgeman is one of the most successful business individuals in America. He started out as a basketball player. As a matter of fact, he initially got drafted in the NBA by the Los Angeles Lakers and was included in the trade that bought Kareem Abdul-Jabbar from Milwaukee to Los Angeles. Junior Bridgeman was involved in that mega blockbuster trade. And several years ago, I had an opportunity to sit down with Junior Bridgeman and interview him and just talk about his life. And he has a very, very interesting story. And I always love telling this story because when I asked him what changed for him, what took him from being a basketball player to becoming this behemoth of a business person, before he sold his fast dining restaurants, Junior Bridgeman was the largest franchisee of Wendy's. He owned something like 168 Wendy's. He owned, I want to say, something like 70 Pizza Huts, but he major big time. And he since sold those, and now he bought Coca-Cola distribution center, and I want to say it's in Atlanta where he bought that. But I want you to go out and research him because he's a great individual to learn from. But I had an opportunity to sit with him, and I asked him, when did it click for him? When did business click for him? And he shares this amazing story. So when he was in the NBA, he was a part of the player association, and he was either the president or the vice president. And he was telling me that they were in negotiations with all the owners for more per diem. Per diem is the amount of money that the NBA was paying them when they travel. And he says they were in this meeting, and as they were talking, giving this presentation on why the players should get, I can't remember the numbers, but let's say why the players should get $15 instead of $10 for per diem. And he said he noticed that as he was giving the presentation, like really none of the owners were paying attention. And he says they went on break, and he noticed that when they went on break, all the owners came alive. They got excited because they were able to talk to each other. And he said he began to observe the conversations that they were having. And he says they were talking about, hey, I'm getting ready to buy this development. You should really partner with me over here. And another 2 or 3 other owners would say, hey, I'm involved in this project over here. You should really get involved with it. And so after the meeting, it really stuck out to Junior Bridgeman. And so he went to the owner of the Milwaukee Bucks. He went to the owner of the Milwaukee Bucks and he says, can I talk to you? And the owner said, sure. And now I want you to understand this was back in, the early 80s, late 70s, right? So it's just unusual for a player to go talk to an owner in that type of sense. But Junior Bridgeman went and he talked with his owner, the Milwaukee Bucks owner, and he says, I noticed that when we were in the meeting, like you guys really weren't paying attention. You guys really weren't paying attention to us. And the owner says, well, Junior, I really have to be honest with you. You guys were talking about a $5 deal. Remember, they wanted to go from $10 a day to $15 a day per diem. And he says, that's not really exciting for guys like us, right? That's not really exciting for guys like us. And Junior asked him to go ahead and elaborate. And he began to talk with Junior and the light bulb went off and Junior asked him, he says, I want to do this business. Will you start to mentor me and will you teach me business? And so one of the very first things that he did for Junior Bridgeman and some of the initial wisdom that he shared with him, he says, Junior, you got to start seeing yourself as a business, not just as a player. You got to start seeing yourself just as a business and not just as a player. And you got to start thinking long term. You're not going to always be able to play basketball, and this could be taken away from you at any time. So what are you doing with your money? How are you leveraging your money? How are you investing your money? And so he told Junior, he says, one of the first things you need to do is go get insurance on your legs. Go get insurance on your legs because your legs are a big part of how you generate income. Now, Junior didn't even know that this was possible to get his legs insured, but sure enough, because like singers, like speakers, like we could get our voice, insured if something happens, because that's the major way we earn income, right? So you can get that insured. You can get an insurance policy against that. If I lost my vocal cords, my larynx or something like that, I could have my voice insured. So sure enough, Junior Bridgeman takes that advice. He goes and gets his legs insured. And unfortunately, a couple of years later, Junior Bridgeman has an injury. He's no longer able to play basketball at a high level, but because he had this insurance policy, the insurance policy kicked in and he was paid a windfall of money. He took that money and invested in his first Wendy's. He invested in his first Wendy's. Now, before that, I jumped a little bit. Before the injury, once he had this conversation with the owner, what Junior did for the next 2 to 3 years, he went and worked in the off season as an NBA player. In the off season, he went and worked for Wendy's. He went and got a job at Wendy's because he wanted to learn all the integral parts of running a franchise. And so he said, I'm not just going to pour my money into the franchise and not know what's going on. And so he literally went and from the cash register to the grill to every aspect of working in Wendy's, he went and learned it. And so when this accident unfortunately happened, the fortunate thing was he took the wisdom of the owner, got the insurance. He then took that money and bought his first Wendy's. And as they say, the rest is history. And so what I want you to take away from that, what am I doing right now where I'm not thinking big enough? Junior, when I was talking with him, Mr. Bridgman was like, he realized that as a player, he wasn't thinking big enough. He was just thinking as a player. But he says when he started to think as an owner, everything shifted for him because he realized he told me, he says he realized as a player, he was playing a game, but the owner of the team, it wasn't just a game to him, it was a business. It was a business. And so he started to see how the owners were moving differently than the players. And he shares with me initially, a lot of his NBA counterparts looked at him because instead of hanging out with the players, he started hanging out with the Milwaukee Bucks owner. And everybody looked at him and was like, man, what are you doing hanging out with the owner? And he says, man, I'm learning how to be a business person. I'm learning how to be a individual that can leverage my money. And so on this Think Big Thursday, I want you to go, after you get finished with this video, go look up Junior Bridgeman. Very fascinating individual, one of the top business persons and entrepreneurs in American history. So that's what I have for you today on Think Big Thursday. Go out there and be like Junior Bridgeman. What can you do to shift your mentality so you can start thinking bigger? All right, guys, go out there and be your brilliant, amazing selves on today. Go make somebody else smile as you make yourself smile as well. And I'll see you right back here tomorrow for the Daily Genius.